What's up, fam? Birds of a Feather live on A2DRadio.com. First time, buddy?
Yeah, first time.
First time, rookie? Birds of a Feather coming at you live from the Real Talk Studios on A2DRadio.com, Instagram, Periscope, Facebook, Twitter, and the YouTube. The Facebook is being very fun tonight.
We're at
To
war.
say the
We are-
at war right now.
We're having our struggles, so we apologize for the late start. But we are coming to you live with our Philadelphia Eagles season preview, as well as our NFL season preview. We're going to go through some of the roster cuts. We're going to go through some of the transactions around the league. And, of course, we're going to bring our divisional winners. We're going to pick our playoff teams, wild card, and we're going to pick our championship game and Super Bowl winners.
We are.
Oh, I am.
I didn't go that far.
Oh, I did.
We'll go.
Chucks, Chrome, Kevin, Mr. Ryan Brodo on the ones and twos.
Reunited and
First,
it feels so
this is the first time in
good.
almost 2 months that we have all of us in one room. Chucks was lounging in his, what's it called? The Forever Pool or whatever.
Infinity pool.
Infinity Pool.
Forever
pool.
Wow.
That works
Freaking
too,
hell.
though. That works too.
I am not that bougie. I've never been in one of those things. You know? But I'm starting to think of like the Uncle Jesse.
I must
Just hang out in. I'm starting to think like the Uncle Jesse song. Forever.
That's what I thought of.
Forever.
We are brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountants. Make them yours. GibsonMayer.com, as well as Specialized Physical Therapy. You can find them in Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton, New Jersey. Find them on the web, SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. Our Scanzano Sports topic of conversation tonight. We have the Philadelphia Eagles will be the number 1 seed in the NFC. Agree? Disagree? Guys, the football season is here.
Finally.
Finally, like meaningful football. Let me ask, as far as the preseason goes, how much of the preseason do you really watch? Like for me, I was excited about the first preseason game because I wanted to see the rookies play. And I wanted to see Nate Sudfeld play, and obviously we saw what happened with him. But week 2, maybe the first half, week 3 and 4, I maybe watched a combined of like 8 or 9 minutes of game time. I don't even think it would be an actual quarter combined. Because I just don't – at that point now, you're just crossing fingers that guys don't get injured. And I really just – guys are playing less, the guys who do play, and it just doesn't really excite me that much. I'm now counting down for when we get fired up and get going. So, what do you guys? How much do you guys really put? Well, you didn't watch any really this preseason because you were.
I was about to say that. This
you were
year,
honeymoon. Generally, though,
generally,
preseason, like
generally,
how into it do you get?
yeah, generally I don't watch the fourth
Okay.
that much. I'll watch maybe a little bit, but I really like the geek that I am. I do watch a good amount of the first 3 weeks of the preseason.
Yeah.
And it's not the best quality of football,
No.
as you all know. But I do watch it because it's football, and I like to see I just like to watch like the younger players that I have an eye on, how they perform. I like to keep an eye out for bubble players and how they perform. Because I don't like, you guys know me, I don't like to depend just on what the media says, who is playing well and everything. I like to see from my own eyes, like, okay, I really do think this guy's playing well, or spot out a player that I think is doing well that other people in the media might not, have a, put their finger on and might spotlight that I think is should be spotlighted. So I like to have my own input, and therefore the only real way for me to do that is to watch with my own eyes. So I do watch a significant amount of it, even though it's tough to watch at times.
Yeah, I'm pretty much right in the middle. I'll watch a quarter here and there, specifically for guys I want to see. Josh Gordon coming back last week.
Mm-hmm.
He only played in the 4th game, so obviously I had to catch that. Stidham, who my prediction came true, did make the team, beat out Hoyer. I wanted to see him early on. And then guys like N'Keal Harry and Jacoby Myers, see how they were doing, and not necessarily how they did overall, but their chemistry with Brady, because really you could be a star on the team, but Brady really picks his receivers.
Sure.
So
Yep.
it's all about the chemistry when it comes down to it. Just to see that develop Whereas we already knew if the Patriots are taking a receiver number 1 overall, he's obviously got to be able to play. So just to see that develop is really what I watch and look for. Outside of that, I don't really dive into it. I'm not looking to pick my division winners based off the preseason play, but I watch it enough to know as a gauge what I should expect week 1.
Yeah, and I think, for you had a little bit more to watch because there were probably more fringe guys than what we were really looking at. I think for the most part, minus maybe 2 or 3 spots, we kind of knew who was going to make the team. We weren't throwing out any hot takes about Josh Adams or anything like that. We didn't feel the need to have a cold take on the obvious. We kind of know how these things are going. So, again, it does take away from, I guess, watching a little bit too.
Yeah, that was the fun part to watch because the Patriots going into camp had one of the biggest rosters. They were sitting at about 90 guys just before the cuts, 21 rookies out of the 90. And then once the cuts happened, now they're the oldest team.
Amazing.
Out of their 53-man roster is the oldest. Granted, their quarterback's 42, so
sure.
That hurts them a little bit. But then to see the development of we'll get into a little bit later, but guys like N'Keal Harry, watching him play, yet now get put on IR, how that develops, and who out of the guys that we've been watching makes the cut to fill those voids. Is really what you look for overall.
Yeah, we want everybody. We want to be interactive, guys. Let's get the excitement up. This is the NFL season kicking off this week. We've been waiting for this day to come. So interact with us, guys. Drop in your thoughts on the 53-man final roster, any of the transactions and whatnot. We're going to make sure that we're going through all that. We want to hear your divisional takes on as we go through the different teams. And, obviously who you think is going to carry on throughout the playoffs. So, with that said, on your end, before I ask Chucks about the Eagles, were there any surprises for you specifically of guys that made the cut and maybe guys that didn't make the cut?
Not really.
I mean, the answer can be no if there wasn't any.
No, not really. I expect, like I said, I projected that Stidham was going to make the only other quarterback outside of Brady on the team. All the receivers was what I expected. The surprise to me was N'Keal Harry being put on the IR. He played well, and it never showed signs of being injured. I think it's more of a freeing up that spot because they were so deep at receiver with Demaryius Thomas and Cameron Meredith. Demaryius Thomas being on the active roster now, Cameron Meredith is on the PUP, so he can return after week 6. So I expected those guys to be fringe anyway. They found a way to bring them in. Outside of that, there was no real surprises out of the camp.
Okay. Chucks, Eagles.
No real surprises. Like the biggest surprise might have been them moving on from Trayvon Hester. That was like it.
Wisniewski was cut, but
Wisniewski,
I think we kind
of knew that.
I know when we were on before and Chucks was away, we talked about Wisniewski might be a guy that's been floated out as, potentially being a guy who wouldn't make the roster. So
yeah, I'm going through the other stuff. I mean, like the other surprise was, I guess you can say, was that they kept 2 tight ends, but Doug pretty much said that Dillard's going to be the third tight end because they only keep the third tight end to block. So they're just going to use Dillard as the third tight end. Yeah, besides that, I mean, like, it was pretty straightforward. I mean, they kept 10 offensive linemen, but Dillard counts, like I said, as kind of like a third tight end too. I wouldn't be so. I mean, like, they're going to. There will be like moves. In the next coming weeks. These final 53s are never set in stone. Like everyone, it's funny because they all say, "Oh, you have to get to the final 53." Well, like the final 53 is never final, and I always find that funny. There's always going to be movement, but I mean, I think another one of the maybe surprises you can say is that they kept 5 safeties. Rudy Ford made it as a special teamer, but besides that, everything else was cut and dry. And there's really nothing I mean, I know some people also wanted Ward to make it, but I mean, he hasn't made it the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you can say like he balls out in the preseason, but I mean, they like Hollins. So if they're gonna like Hollins, they invested a 4th rounder in him. They're gonna keep him as a
They're
5th.
gonna keep their guy.
And like I said, it's the special teams factor. When you're the 5th wide receiver, you're not gonna see playing time much.
Mm-hmm.
Like it comes down to your contributions on special teams.
Yeah,
So
I
what
mean,
are you going to contribute to special teams? And if you are significantly better in that area than the guy you're competing against, you're going to get the advantage.
Well, I think particularly with Matt Collins too, a lot of what his role was is going to be filled by Deshaun Jackson as far as wide receiver. So his special teams contributions are going to probably play more of a pivotal role.
Absolutely.
This time around, being back. So
absolutely.
Transactionally, obviously, Wendell Smallwood gone. Signs with the Redskins, adds a little bit of depth to them. Nice signing for them. I mean, he makes sense for them. Am I right? Thorson, I think, signed with Dallas.
Yeah.
Waiting
they
for
were all
Cody Kessler to sign with the Giants.
Yeah, they were all claimed though. So I mean, like
right. Well,
waived things.
Moved,
yeah,
right.
Yeah,
moves.
yeah.
As far as transaction goes, what do you guys think about not going all in on Clowney and moving any pieces and sticking with the
Want
guys?
to get
you
into
got?
that now?
I mean,
We're talking transactions.
so obviously,
Yeah.
Jadeveon Clowney was traded to the Seattle Seahawks. To me, it would have been great to get him, but I trust that from what I've heard from someone who has some pretty good sources, they were never even in on him. A lot of that was blown up big time.
And that's another thing.
Just because he said he wanted to come here, and that kind of fueled the fire a little bit more. He would have been a more of a luxury, but again, it's another guy that you're going to have to pay at some point, and they're already going to have to make decisions on the roster. I mean, we talked about if they make that deal, to me, you have to throw Nelson in because you're going to have to start making decisions on these kind of guys. So, am I disappointed? I would say no. Would I have liked to have had him? Sure. Who the hell wouldn't want to have him?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think this is the part that people have to realize and how he addressed this. He said it. So there's validity to it. I think this is how it's going to be when it comes to Howie. He literally does his due diligence on every player that's available. He said so in his press conference after the trades, all those trades went down. He said he does his due diligence on everyone that's available. So, don't be surprised if, these reports saying, oh, Eagles inquired about X player or about Y player or about Z player. You know what I mean? It's Howie being him and doing what he needs to do. He wouldn't be a good GM if he didn't at least inquire and say, oh, what's it gonna take? Just because he does that, I feel like a lot of the media blow it out of proportion and they go, oh, Eagles have strong interest. Like the whole thing with Shady.
No, you mean like Melvin Gordon being in Philly and following the Eagles on Twitter
anything.
doesn't mean he's not coming?
Anything.
Are you telling me that doesn't mean he's not coming here? I thought it was locked up.
Oh yeah, that's a secret though. We can't tell anyone.
Oh my God.
Could
you imagine though if we did end up with Melvin Gordon? Just saying, it's not happening. But
it's the same thing as Clowney. It's a nice to have, but you don't need.
You
to
don't
have
need
him.
it. Yeah.
You almost hurt yourself more by bringing in a guy this late into camp and giving up pieces versus just rolling what you got.
And that's what Howie said also, that a lot of it has to do with chemistry about who we have on the team and situation. And I think, the report after McCoy got released on Saturday, there was a report later that day that the Eagles showed strong interest. And I was like, I call bullcrap on that because I guarantee you that's just Howie doing his due diligence. I guarantee you, considering what we have a running back now, he's just doing what he needs to do, and I don't think the interest was that strong.
Seeing what he signed for, what was it, $4 million, $3 million guaranteed? If they wanted him, they could have had him.
They could have had him.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind. A 1-year deal. Clearly, they didn't want him. And again, I mean, when you talk about Melvin Gordon and those kind of guys, I don't know that I call Shady a luxury at this point, but in his career. But a guy like a Melvin Gordon, he's a phenomenal talent. But kind of similar to what you said, do you rob from Peter to pay Paul? Do you take away from something to go for a luxury? I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
Would you like to have these guys? Sure.
Yeah, of course.
Do I want to weaken myself in another area or two to get it done? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And they're going to need these draft picks. If they're going to move draft picks going forward, they're going to have to be very smart about doing it to get guys, which Howie always is. They're going to have to be very smart and diligent about doing so because the value of these draft picks is going to be huge going forward because you're going to be paying guys like Carson and some of these other guys that are on the books. So they're going to have to put an emphasis on the draft. And I don't want them to go get a guy just because a big name is available and would look sexy in an Eagles uniform. I don't need that. I got to see the need. I got to see the fit and the immediate impact he's going to have. Otherwise, it's just a luxury to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing is, obviously having a little bit of a bit different take, having seen the Patriots do it for so long, is, you have to put yourself in his shoes and see that your draft picks now aren't the same value as the team's been playing with 5 years ago, where they were all early, 20 and under. Now you're looking at being in the back end of every round. Where do you see people actually going in upcoming drafts, and how can you position them to take veteran talent?
Right.
If you don't need to move them, then sit on them.
Agreed. We're going to hit the fam for a little bit here. Alexis Hernandez, Fly Eagles Fly, baby. Let's go. He says Phillies are up. Let's make this wild card push. Go Cards. David Rosca says Chucks is back. Yes, he is. He says it's great seeing you.
Been back for a week, Rosca, but thank you.
Tom says to the poll, he agrees, boys. Appreciate you, Tom. Ralph Del Vecchio, hello, fellas. What's up, Crumb? Dion says, what's good, fellas? I agree with the poll question only if we take care of our division first and then the teams in the conference. We can't lose games to the NFC teams that we know will make or a shot at a playoff run, and we play about 5 of them outside of the NFC East. Agreed. Greg says, love the Brady jersey on the wall. Love it. GOAT. To which the Crumb next to me responds that he took it off his back. Tyler Weston says, have a great show, brothers. Appreciate you, Tyler. Tristan Russo, to me, this is the most talented Eagles team I've ever been around. Bill Middlebrook says, what's up, fam? Hell yes to the poll. Do you think this is the most talented Eagles team on paper? We're not calling Dream Team, guys.
Yeah.
Keep that noise out. A lot of this team is homegrown at this point, too.
Yes.
So do you believe this might be the most talented Eagles team we've seen?
I would say yes because of
That's
the
the
depth
outsider
they've got.
here.
I would say yeah because of the depth they've got. I think they've had bigger names and stars and positions, but never through and through like this.
Man,
Yeah.
I do wish we still had Chris Long for one more year, though. It's one guy I wish didn't.
He said he would come back too. He
Well.
said if there's a need, I'll be there.
Yeah.
But
Well, we'll see. Hopefully, I want to say hopefully not because
Because then that means
That's not a
people
good
get injured.
sign.
Yeah.
Dion says Green Bay, Seattle, Minnesota, Atlanta, and the Rams. That's who he's picking the NFC with the Eagles. Oh, yeah. Kevin says, sure off my back, had to rep the GOAT in the sea of green. Loser. Rob Brinkman, the 53-man roster is flawless, pretty cut and dry. Bill says, throw the same poll question back at Kev. Will the Patriots be the number 1 seed? He says no. He thinks they'll be the 3 seed. No bye for them this year.
I've got them at number 1.
Of course
Easy
you do.
pick. I've got them with the best record.
I'm
in
done
football.
betting against them until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
They're gonna get a one. They're gonna get a bye somewhere. 1 or 2. They're gonna get a bye somehow.
Bill says Smallwood said he's going to put a whooping on us Sunday. Come on, I can't wait for our defense to show him why he was cut. Andy Ritter says, Crumb City, have a great show, you bums. Much love. Enjoy week 1. I know how much y'all have waited for it. Appreciate you, you dirtbag.
Yep.
Brinkman says, on paper, best Eagles team ever, even better than 2004. It's tough to argue against it.
Yeah.
Tristan says, McCoy would have made no sense. I'm sorry. Agreed.
Agreed.
Says same thing with Gordon. It would make no sense. Bill says anybody that pays Melvin $10 million will get him for any player. Otherwise, the Chargers get nothing, and he sits. He sits. I would too for only $5 million. Rosca says Rams will be back in the Super Bowl.
But you're not a Rams fan,
He's a Rams fan and a Chargers fan
so he's
and a
neither.
Lakers fan, the Clippers fan.
He claimed the whole state of California, right?
He
Yeah.
claims all of California.
I will give him this. He talks much more about the Rams than he does the Chargers. He always has. Even before the Rams got really, really good, he primarily posts about the Rams. So I'll give him the Rams.
Okay.
We'll see. They got a good team. They extended Jared Goff. What were the terms that you pulled up on that, John?
It's like around 32 mil reported by
per
who
year.
Reported it, yeah.
For how many years?
4 years.
4 years.
So it's a little, just about around where Carson Wentz's was.
So that was pretty breaking news. Jared Goff contract extension, around $32 million a year. That's going to go great for Dak and the Cowboys, by the way. Just another one that that Jerry sat back and allowed to sign an extension, and it's going to be more money out of his pocket.
By all means, I'm not complaining.
Brinkman says Shady was never coming. Gordon definitely was never coming. Agreed. Anything else as far as roster cuts?
No, I mean, I will say, like, you guys probably have, like, okay, this is more so for
Brinkman,
fantasy.
hot
What'd he
take,
say?
Brinkman. Ooh.
What do you say?
I like it. I don't know if it's going to happen, though. He says Rams and the Saints aren't making the playoffs. Book it.
Woo! I like it.
I like it.
I like it.
I hope you're right, Brinkman.
Yes. Yes.
I'm on the Brinkman train tonight with that one.
A little preview for when we do our predictions. I agree with one of those teams. I'm in agreement with one of those teams.
And just so you guys know, you can catch Brinkman Monday nights on the Sports Hounds. He's on here with Kyle, Brad. Tom was on with them last night in place of Brad. And I think Crumb Ralph, he does their producing, right? Frank. All right, one of these guys. One of these schlubs. But now I'm with you, Brinkman, on that one, man. If I was to pick one out of them, I would go with the Saints.
Okay.
I don't know why, just because I still believe in the Rams team. I think the Rams still have a very, very good team. I don't think that they'll go back to the Super Bowl this year, but I do believe that they are going to be a powerhouse in the NFC.
I'm going to save it for the predictions.
Okay. I mean, I think both are, but if I was to pick one out of those two, I would probably discount the Saints.
So I'm on the same page. I could see one of them missing.
Okay. This is what we're doing. We're just
I have
a bunch of bobbleheads here, just nodding heads.
I'm saving it. I'm
even
saving
Brodo
it
over
because
in
I have
productions,
I have so much. There are two divisions where I have a lot to say, or maybe three. NFC West and NFC South are two of them. There might be another division in the AFC where I have a lot to say, but it's definitely those two divisions where
I'm saving it for me.
Like, oh my God.
See, for those that catch the fix, I know Brodo's outlook on those two teams. So
On lots of things, yes.
yeah. So he's been very adamant
Oh
on
man.
at least one of those teams not doing well. So.
Yes, I have. Very good.
Yes. Let's go to YouTube.
Yeah,
For a
head
little
up to
bit.
YouTube,
So-
fam.
Mile High says 100 subs and go Broncos. We got a Broncos fan here.
What's up, man? Welcome.
D Love 127.98 says I'm feeling so good about this team. Bryce Blackwell says Eagles, Bears, Falcons, Rams win the division. So those are his division winners. He says Pats, Browns, Texans, Chiefs. Those are the AFC division. Yeah, those are his AFC. For the wild card for AFC, he's got Steelers and Chargers. Wild card for NFC, he's got Packers and Saints.
Okay.
Brinkman says the NFC East isn't great. The Eagles should definitely be the 1 seed. Pete Evans says, yo boys watching on the YouTube side tonight. What's up, Pete? Todd Womack says, Philly Dilly guys.
Philly
as
Dilly.
always. He says, tell me what level you want for excitement. NFC East champs, then talk to me. Then Bryce Blackwell does say the Rams extension for golf. And then, yeah, that's pretty much. Oh, and Mile High said 61 or 61X says, I got Philly versus Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl.
Ooh. Interstate championship.
The Keystone rivalry.
I'm gonna have to agree to disagree.
I'm
there,
gonna
fam.
have to disagree with that one, but yeah. So that's thing. The last thing I will say about, and this is like it's so minute, but I guess for fantasy purposes, I want to throw it in. But the Jaguars, they let go pretty much of their whole backfield except for rookie running back Raquel Armstead, who is now projected to be the backup to Leonard Fournette. And if we all know Leonard Fournette's injury history, that's significant. So those of you who are fantasy players, if you don't have Raquel Armstead as like a handcuff to Fournette or just someone that you're stashing and keeping an eye on, definitely do so. The other person they put up off of waivers was another running back I had as along with Armstead as a 4th-round grade, and that's Divine Azigbo out of Nebraska.
I'm a Zigbo guy.
He was cut by the Saints. He was waived surprisingly because he played well in the last 2 preseason games. He was waived by the Saints, picked up by the Jaguars. He is 3rd on the depth chart. They did also pick up Tyler Ervin, but he's slated to only be a returner. So you've got Fournette and then 2 rookies behind them. So I thought that was very interesting. So I already picked up Armstead, and I'm watching Ozigbo very closely because I personally like Ozigbo better. I think Ozigbo has better agility and is a better receiver. But right now he's 3rd on the depth chart. But if you really want sleepers, like late-round guys or guys to really watch out for those 2 because they could be making noise. And I see Ryan scrolling on his app.
Couple other moves. Laramie Tunsil and Kenny Stills traded to Houston, which is a big boost for them.
Yes.
It's all good. Addition by subtraction for Miami. They're still going 10-6. It's all good. I'm not budging.
They're still going 10-6. Is that with or without Fitzmagic?
Fitzmagic, baby. Let's do it, baby.
More like Fitzpatrick down there.
There you go.
How long does Fitzmagic last this year? I'm going to say 3 weeks, and then he fizzles.
For Rosen's sake, I hope the entire season.
It only ever lasts 1 week at a time.
I'm going to go 17 weeks plus 2 playoff games, and they're getting a first-round bye. So they only need to go 2 more playoff games.
Listen to me, okay?
3
Listen
more
to me.
playoff games.
If Josh Rosen is playing us, if he's in the game when we go down there and play them, I don't know if they score a point.
I don't know if they score one.
I don't know if they score a point.
He won't be. Fitzmagic is gonna do it again, baby.
Their line could
Do what again?
Their offensive
Do
line.
what again?
He's gonna do it again,
Like,
baby.
what has he ever done to do it again? You understand? What has he ever done to do it again?
He is gonna wear that beautiful track suit with that wonderfully groomed beard,
I was
Poor
going to
man's
say.
and he's gonna
McGregor.
stroll in with all kinds of swag, and he's just gonna own shit.
That
He's
was a
gonna
dark
run
day
there.
in Philadelphia. You know
Fitzmagic's
that?
running the East.
That was a dark day in Philadelphia.
Laces out,
That was
Dan.
after when they torched us. You realize that, right?
It was
And we're making a mockery
pretty
of it.
crazy. Brakeman says, Jerry needs to sign Zeke. He's more important than Dak. Sounds like that deal is very close. So I wouldn't be overly concerned if you're a Zeke fantasy football owner,
Yeah.
which doesn't shock me.
Even if it doesn't get done this week, it'll be done like within next week.
Nicholas John Park says Gordon makes no sense, and McCoy at this point wouldn't have mattered. They have Sanders, Howard, Clement, and Sproles. I agree. They have more than enough. It's a luxury if you get somebody like Gordon. Brinkman says, I think I broke Kyle last night. Tristan Russo says, I can see the Rams missing the playoffs, not the Saints. Roscoe wants to know who is the early World Series predictions of this year. We're going to go to our expert on the panel, Chucks, who's going to the World Series this year.
I'm going to say the Angels and the Indians because I like the Angels in the outfield and
They can't even play in the World Series. They're in the same. They're both in the American
I like
League,
those
Chuck.
movies, okay?
Listen,
Angels in the
it's
outfield and
Chuck's
Major
world.
League.
We're just living in it, okay?
Hey, bro, you asked for our predictions. We're rolling with Chucks on this one. Jeff Lomayer, he says, Buddy just messaged me. Goff signed a $32 million year contract extension. That is true. Brinkman said, did you see the starting left guard and tackle for Washington? I did. Donald Penn and Andrick Flowers. How pathetic is that?
As we posted on a2dradio.com social media last night, Case Keenum, may God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah.
Brinkman says, sounds like last place for the Jags. Chrome is on them. Good drugs. Thinking Miami's going 10-6. Let me get some of that script. You got it, man. I'm passing it out.
I don't want it.
Bill Middlebrook says, Kev, love you, bro, but the Pats are not good.
Oh, here we go.
Not getting a 1 seed. I know as a fan, you have to say it, but there's four really good teams in the AFC, and your team is weaker this year. You don't even make the championship game. I
I'll say
predict
it.
the Chargers or Browns against Big Red KC, Eagles Super Bowl.
I'll say it.
My issue is
Pats are good.
My issue is that's the same exact thing that was said last year
And the year before.
and the year before
And the year before.
and the past 8 years that we've
Yeah,
won our
everyone-
division straight.
Hashtag still here.
Still
Yeah.
there. Let
Remember
me
that
see. Hold
stupid
on.
hashtag?
Let me ask 2 questions. Do they still have Bill Belichick?
Yes.
Do they still have Tom Brady?
Yes.
They're getting a,
So
they're getting a top seed.
here's
They're
a fun
getting a
fact.
top seed. It's just this how it is.
Here's a fun fact for the fam I shared in our group earlier. Since 2010, there's been 3 teams in the NFL that have not played in the wild card round: the Browns, the Buccaneers, and oh, by the way, the New England Patriots, because
For very
They always get a
different
bye.
Yeah.
reasons.
because they've had to buy every
very
year.
different reasons.
That's a horrifying statistic.
Yeah.
That's
It's
horrifying.
so
10 years.
scary.
Roscoe wants to know who I picked for the World Series. I'm going Houston and St. Louis. Book it. Houston wins.
What?
He asked who I think is going to go to make it to the World Series.
Well, I don't.
I'm not
I don't
picking
know.
against the Cardinals.
Yes.
I'll pick against them in the championship, but I'm not picking against
Oh,
them.
that's
in the
noble of you. That's very noble of you.
I mean, they have the 3rd best record in the National League.
Okay. I can't say that about my team.
No,
so.
you can't say that.
So therefore,
No, you
I'll
can't
go
say that at all.
We have
I
no
didn't
business.
try.
2011 was a great year.
Only losers talk about the past.
11 and 11. 11 and 11. You know what that is? That's their 11th championship in 2011.
Good job.
Who had the best record in the National League that year?
You must have done a lot for that team. How many hits you have in that series?
I have no.
I cheered them on like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, I'm sure you did. Sure you did.
All right. What do we want to get into first here, boys? Is there any other transactions we want to talk about before we start getting into the rest of the league?
That's pretty much it.
Anything you want to bring up on the Patriots front?
That was it.
That's
I
it.
think
Okay.
so far. We'll
right.
see.
All right.
I'm
Crump
ready.
talk.
I can't wait. I'm ready.
Yeah.
All right. So, Chucks, where do you want to go
Coup de grace.
first?
Let's go division by division.
Well, why don't let's go Eagles first. Do we want to talk about, or do we want to save like second half? Like, who do we think are going to be like breakout guys this year? You know, we could do like a offensive, defensive MVP predictions and
In
stuff.
the second
like
half or right now?
I'm asking you, when do you want to do it? You're the boss.
Let's go. What is that supposed to mean? Second half? Yeah, second half. So let's do predictions now.
You made the criteria. You're the boss.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be divisions.
I didn't think it was
now.
that complicated.
And by the way,
For Christ's sake.
this is a
I was going to say, but then he was like making a signal, and I was like,
this is
what?
a meeting live on. I would say because our main topic was predictions, we should start with predictions.
Yeah.
Fine, Ryan.
Listen, man, I'm
Second
just
half
here so.
awards.
All right. So let's.
Second half award.
All right. So we want to go predictions. Do we want to go
NFC East.
You want to do AFC first?
No, NFC. I said NFC.
Oh, see, I like to save the NFC East for the last.
Shucks.
Oh, you want to go AFC? Fine.
What a-
We'll go.
What an
So
amateur.
we'll do AFC. AFC East, North, Southwest, and then go NFC East, North, Southwest.
All right.
Cool.
So let's go through the AFC first. We're going to start with the AFC. We're going to let Kevin go first. You want to 1 through 4 division, or are you just picking your winner? If you didn't do that,
I'll
I
go 1
picked-
through.
This
I-
shouldn't be hard.
I'll go 1 through
to
4.
go 1 to 4.
I picked the whole
So-
division, but you don't have to if you only
Okay.
got your winner.
Do we want records? I have records too.
I didn't do
I
records.
didn't do
I
records.
didn't do records.
I found some
Because
of
that's-
his notes in here.
I would have
That's-
had to sit and break down the
You have to
entire
break
schedule
down
of every
and then
team.
Hi,
make sure
how are
every
ya?
team has like
Jesus God.
164 wins to 164
Would you like me to
losses.
disclose mine? Or
You can absolutely throw your
Okay.
records in, though.
Do your wins and losses match numbers when you throw
yes,
them up?
Chucks.
Okay, just
I'm
making
not
sure.
Ralph.
I was
I
too
know how
lazy.
to count.
All right, so we're going to start with Kevin first.
So easy one for me: Patriots, Jets, Bills, Dolphins. Dead last in the entire league.
You're a terrible human being, and you don't know what you're talking about, quite frankly. Reverse that division, and then you're on to something.
Reverse.
All right, so you have New England.
You could tell someone got married recently.
That was not playing at our wedding, by the way. That is
Wait, that wasn't?
no, of course not.
What do you mean? Of course not.
Of course not. That is like the lamest line dances of line dances. You want to see real line
Well,
dances?
excuse me.
It's a wedding. People love lame line dances.
No. Like you've obviously never been to a Filipino dance party
I
because
can't say I have.
In res- Go ahead.
Filipinos we line dance, but we don't do that. We do complicated stuff. I will show you. That's
See,
like
I'm not a complicated guy,
No,
so I
no,
can't.
I mean, I like to simplify it, especially like if I got some drinks in me, man. Like, let's not overcomplicate the situation. Bill says to Kevin, by the way, he says, "Well, that's a great stat. After all, they've played in the country club division since then. You're guaranteed 5 to 6 wins every year.
well, then that doesn't change.
5. Listen, 5. They're
We
guaranteed
lose in Miami.
5. They lose in
5
Miami.
because they never beat Miami in Miami.
Yeah.
Very
5.
rarely.
So I get it. Since then being 2010, I get that fact. But 9 in 19 years, I mean, that's not just a coincidence.
But even if they're guaranteed 5 wins, it's still the same situation. That doesn't change the fact that they're still guaranteed 5 wins. So I would agree if those teams. You're saying that those teams are that bad that long. If the Patriots aren't that good, I think the Patriots could go 4-2 in the division. I think the Jets will win one against them this year.
Just a reminder to the fam, we're doing the AFC East right now, so make sure you're in the comment section, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you guys are at, Instagram, whatever. Drop your comments in, drop your predictions. And Chucks, who do you got?
I had the same thing as him. I had Patriots, Jets, Bills, Dolphins.
Got it in reverse. Okay, Ryan.
I had Patriots at 12-4.
Uh-huh.
I had the Jets at 8-8. Bills 6-10. Dolphins before all of this, I had them at 4-12. Now I have them at like 2-14.
Okay,
They could
so
be the
We'll
worst.
reverse that.
The worst team in the league this year.
All right, I have it. New England 1, Miami 2,
You really?
Jets 3,
not serious.
Bills 4.
I can't even look
Book
at you.
it, baby, book it.
I can't even look at you right now.
I'm riding it. I'm riding it, baby.
He has them in second.
All right, so overall consensus was Miami wins the division. We're going to move on to the AFC West now.
It's a damn shame.
I know Sweeps is with me. AFC West, guys. We're going to start with Chucks this time around.
AFC. Oh, we're doing West. Okay. All right. It's a 2-team race. I would have picked this team to win the division, but because of the injury to Derwin James and Melvin Gordon's holdout, I had to bump him to second. So I think the Chiefs still win out, get the division. Chargers second, Broncos third, Raiders fourth.
I have the same.
Cool.
I have Kansas City, Chargers, Denver, and Oakland.
And it sucks because the Chargers were my pick for like almost all summer. They're like, okay, I think the Chargers are going to win in the division. But then Derwin James gets hurt. And then Melvin Gordon's holding out.
Yeah, it's going
And
to
I'm
be tough.
just like, oh my gosh, those are 2 of their best players. They're gonna feel it. They're gonna feel that.
So I still have the Chargers 1,
Okay.
Chiefs 2,
I don't hate it.
Denver, then Raiders.
I think Mahomes comes back down to earth a little bit this year.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's
have-
impossible to repeat like historic season that he had.
Yeah.
I have the Chiefs at 11-5. I have the Chargers at 9-7. Broncos 7-9. Raiders 6-10.
Okay. You're giving them 6 wins, huh?
I am.
All right. I am.
I am.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, moving on. We're going to go to the AFC North. I'll kick this one off. I have Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cincinnati.
I've got the same.
I could see Cleveland and Pittsburgh tying with the same record, but Cleveland winning a tiebreaker. So I think they're going to be on a pretty even field, but I'm going with Cleveland to nudge this. You're with me?
Yeah,
Same?
Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Ravens, Bengals.
Don't look at me with disgust over there.
I will. I will.
You guys picked Dolphins.
I don't remember saying that at all. I don't remember that.
I specifically heard reverse every time you guys.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Right. I've got Cleveland.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
On an island.
You are on an island.
No, but that was tough. But I keep going back and forth with
It's going to be close.
Cleveland and my second place team. My second place team is not the Steelers. It's the
Oh.
Ravens.
All right, let's hold on.
Now he's on an
Yeah,
island
yeah,
by
yeah.
himself.
It's not the Steelers. It's the Ravens.
I mean, I like the Ravens,
Steelers,
but
and Bengals.
Did they learn how to throw the ball there yet, or?
Well, I mean, if they keep running over people, then
So
you know.
here's what I'll say about that. So I'm doing an interesting thing this year. So there's this formula. I don't know if it was Bill Simmons or somebody put this formula out there. So there's this like poll that you can do where you pick. It's like 10 guys. You get 3 teams in the league, And, like, it's not like a snake draft. This formula has been figured out that you can pick your teams in certain numbers, and then it's an even playing field kind of initially, but then whoever has the most wins takes the pot. So you're 3 teams combined. I have Baltimore, so I hope that you're right, but I don't think you're going to be right.
Here's my thinking with one. Let me say that all 3 teams, Browns, Ravens, Steelers, it's going to be close with all of them. The Browns have the skill position players. They have the coaching. They have the quarterback. The thing that worries me that I could see them falter with is their offensive line. It's taking a drop in the past 2 years. That could be their Achilles heel. And if they fail this season, like if they're not a winning team, it'll be for that reason. But I do love their skill position players way too much. And I love Myles Garrett. I'm very high on him. So those reasons are why I still have them at 1. With the Steelers dropping at 3, it's because, 1, I think even though it is addition by subtraction with getting rid of Antonio Brown, to be fair, we still don't know how Juju is going to do against double coverage and how he's going to be able to dictate those coverages and how he's going to react and produce. Also, with Le'Veon Bell officially not there and everyone knowing how James Conner plays now the focus is on, okay, James Conner and Juju are the new AB and Bell. How are they going to react? They're going to know how to play James Conner more. And I'm sorry, but James Conner, even though he's great in that system, he produces well, he's not the same type of talent as Le'Veon Bell is. So they have all of that. I still question the receiving core behind Juju. Like, I'm not a believer in who they have, Dante Moncrief now or something like that. I'm not a big believer in him anymore. James Washington, I was never really high on in the draft. So their receiving core after Juju, I'm not great on. Vance McDonald, if he can, he's a good talent, but for some reason they don't want to give him more reps. I've read constantly the coaches are like, oh no, he's going to have the same role as last year. Well, why are you giving him the same role when he's obviously your best tight end? But they're reluctant to give him more reps. And then on the defensive end, I like what they did with the rookie linebacker Devin Bush to come in and replace I forget his name. I'm sorry, Ryan Shazier. But they still got a lot of holes in the secondary, and so with that, and then I'm already not high on their coach as it is. I still think he's 1 second away from losing the locker room yet again or every year. It's hard for me to put them above a team in the Ravens that, yeah, I know Lamar Jackson has still yet to prove himself as a passer, but until they face the Patriots, right? Was it against the Patriots that they lost to, or was it the Patriots in the playoffs that they lost to last year?
Well, it would have been 2 years ago because they weren't in the playoffs last year. It was the Jags.
They lost it, the Jags. Sorry, that was the Jags. But like, yeah, I get like they have yet to prove a passing game, but the addition of Marquise Brown, who is healthy, and the other additions they've made, they got Mark Andrews at tight end. They've really bolstered also that running back core. So if they're going to be a run-heavy team, man, they have all the running backs to do it. Mark Ingram, Gus Edwards returns, who was their leading rusher last year, and Justice Hill, who is tearing it up in the preseason and is a really dynamic playmaker for them. Mm-hmm. Like, they've got weapons to make a run-first offense. And then, of course, Jim Harbaugh, or John Harbaugh, is always a defensive mastermind. He's great on the defensive end. So on the defense, I'm never worried about them. So It's hard when you're splitting hairs like that. To me, I'm more comfortable with the coaching and the overall talent of the Ravens than I am the Steelers.
All right. Before we move on, because I want Ryan to get his in, just a quick announcement for you Phillies fans. Bryce Harper has become the first Philadelphia Philly since 2011 to drive in 100 RBIs in a season.
Wow.
Interesting stat. Who won the World Series in 2011, by the way?
David Roscoe's talking over here on the Facebook. He has some comments. Some very important things that aren't about
very
what
important
he just said.
Go ahead, and then I'm going to read through some of the Facebook comments.
So for my AFC North, I have the Steelers at 12-4. I have the Browns at 9-7, the Ravens 8-8, and the Bengals 3-13.
So you don't think the Browns even get to double-digit wins?
No, but they'll get to the playoffs.
Okay. So you have them as
you said 9-7?
Correct.
Interesting. Okay.
I can see that.
Over here on the Facebook, Bill dropped in some of his predictions. He had Chiefs, Chargers, Denver, and Oakland. He also had Pittsburgh, Browns, Ravens, Bengals. Tom Arnone drops in. Love you guys. Is it Sunday yet? Let's go. Can't friggin' wait, man. Tristan Russo also says, let's go Birds. Rosca has the Chargers winning a wild card. I'm sure he has the Rams and the Chargers in the Super Bowl as well.
Of course,
Would
he
make
does.
sense.
Would make sense.
Frank's Frank gave us all of his NFC predictions.
Wrong conference, Frank.
That's all right. Frank has Eagles in the seeding. He has Eagles 1, Saints 2, Packers 3, Rams 4, Falcons 5, Seahawks 6.
No.
I don't know what he's doing. Blue Dabba Dee. I don't know what the fuck.
Oh,
He
that song.
decided just to sing a song.
Yeah, he was singing us a song.
Thanks, Frank.
Okay, so great. So now we're going to go and we're going to move on. Once I find my thing here.
We got one more division.
Yeah, we're going to go to the AFC South. Now, since I did your show with you guys, I have switched my pick for obvious reasons.
I've switched since I've done my show last week.
Okay. I'm going to let you go first since you didn't go first yet in this round.
So I originally had the Tennessee Titans winning the division at 9-7, tied with. I had that as a bad division, okay? Just because this time last week the offensive line for the Texans was a bottom 3 in the league.
Yeah.
It's not the case anymore. They also add another wide receiver to help out with Deshaun Watson. I don't love the team, but I bumped them up to 10-6.
Okay.
So that also changed my prediction of the Titans at 9-7 back to 8-8. So I changed those two. So then I have the Colts at 7-9, serviceable but not good enough. And sorry, Nick Foles fans, I have the Jaguars at 6-10. Nick Foles has nothing to work with.
Okay. I don't hate it.
I hate it, but I love you.
You hate it.
We're going to go
No,
to
I don't. I don't.
we're
hate
going to
it.
go over
I disagree, but I don't hate it.
We're going to go to Chuck's first
Are you
here.
about to do what I think you're about to do?
Or second.
I told you this last week. I told you this last week for the AFC South, and the new trades don't make a difference to me in terms of who wins it. I still have the Jaguars. For the Jaguars, last year they weren't as successful because the whole Blake Bortles thing finally hit its breaking point. Blake Bortles was the downfall of that team because of all his turnovers and everything. That defense was put out on an island way too many times during the season. I think that with Nick Foles, they take better care of the ball. I think they go back to their powerful running game, which is going to help that defense, and the defense is going to be a top unit yet again, which has added even more parts yet again this season. So I have them winning the division. If I were to make a ballpark win-loss record, they're going to be maybe around 10 wins. Okay. So it's not like I have them at 12 wins or anything, but I have like maybe max 10 wins. Maybe they win the division even with 9-7. So I'm not saying I'm crazy about the Jaguars, but I like them more than any other team. In second place, I do have the Colts. And yes, I know Andrew Luck retired. However, I do believe Jacoby Brissett, under the tutelage of Frank Reich, and that team, which is still good around him, is going to still be a team to be reckoned with. I think they get second place in the division just by a little bit. The Texans I have at third because even with Tunsil, I still think that offensive line is garbage. And a neat stat that I heard that supported my pick of them being third is, according to Warren Sharp, who's an analytics guy, he does strength of schedule, but not based on teams' records last year. He does strength of schedule based on Vegas predictions, which is more reliable than anything because Vegas knows they're smart, obviously. Based on that strength of schedule, Houston Texans last year had the easiest schedule out of anyone in the league. This year, they have the hardest schedule. They went from first to 32nd. So that is a factor, and I just think yes, they added Stills, and I do still like some pieces on defense. I love DeAndre Hopkins. I just don't think it's enough. I'm a Watson believer.
They're getting Will Fuller back.
They're getting Will Fuller back, who's always injured also though. So I think the Texans will be around an 8-8 team, but I don't believe in that offensive line enough. and I think that they haven't made enough moves to improve the offensive line to get them over the hump.
Kevin?
Amid the retirement of Andrew Luck, I still see the Colts winning the division.
Woo!
I've got Colts, Jags, Texans, Titans.
Nice.
The disrespect to the Titans.
Oh, I think the Titans stink too. So
Yeah.
How could? Is it because of the quarterback thing?
Because their roster's very good. Their roster's very good.
It's all right.
It's very good.
It's all
I
right.
mean, it's very good.
Corey Davis is going to be a baller, but I mean, like,
I
It's
believe
very
in.
good.
I
It's
believe
not
in
flashy, but it's very good.
I'd believe in them more if Ryan Tannehill was going to be under center.
Well, he probably will be when Mariota gets hurt after week
Right.
week 3 or 4.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the coach. I like some of their pieces, but
you're
there's
not
no
a fan of a
chemistry.
former Patriot?
I'm not a fan of him as a coach. No,
because he's what's he, a traitor to you now?
no.
He
Well,
left the mothership.
I've got no problem with him as a Patriot, but off the Patriots, it's proven that outside of the wings of Belichick,
They
nobody
struggle.
succeeds.
Yeah, no one succeeds because it's Bill Belichick.
Right.
It's the GOAT.
So that's all you got.
That's all I got. On to you.
Sorry, I'm just responding to Pete.
What did Pete say?
So Pete put on here, yo boys, I agree with the poll. Chucks, are you ready for this draft tomorrow? And Chrome, you may never mention 2011 World Series again, you ginger cardinal. To which I said, you can't change history, my guy. Number 11 and number 11. To which he responds on here, from now on, MLB year 2011 has been rescinded from my memory. To which I responded, it would be from mine too if I were you.
Drink it in, man.
Oh, and Pete, yes, I'm ready for the draft tomorrow night.
Hey, don't call me heel chrome for nothing, bro. Just spouting out facts. Titles are facts, right? You know this, right?
Hey,
Championships are
Oh,
facts.
don't try to relate.
Championships
to
are
him.
facts. Oh, he has to relate to me. We have 11, so he's got to work in relating to me. And you're getting there.
I mean, it's not like you guys don't have 100 more years than us.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Not 100.
Wait
No,
a-
not 100.
Just
The
73.
St. Louis Browns were around. A lot harder in baseball to repeat than it is in football, too. That's a fact. It is much, much harder. My predictions, I had originally when I did your show, The Fix, I had Indianapolis. Obviously, I've dropped them down. I have Houston winning the division.
There you go.
I agree with you on the concerns of the offensive line, but that being said, it's such a weak division. I don't think it's as glaring of an issue
I agree.
if
It's a
they
weak
were
division.
in other divisions. I think they have so much firepower on offense, particularly with the passing game. I think that they are going to be. I think Mr. Sean Watson, who can extend and create plays with his legs, is going to have a field day in that division. So I have Houston 1. I dropped Indianapolis to 2. Ryan, Tennessee's 3 on my list.
Hey, all right.
And I have Jacksonville at 4. Now, Jacksonville could have 2, 3, 4 wins, and Tennessee could have 5.
Listen, man. At least we're in that 3 spot.
Disrespecting the defense, man. I thought
But
you
gotta
guys
score
hate.
points to win
Wait,
games.
you guys hate Nick Foles that much?
Don't do that. Wow. Don't you do that. You got to score points to win games.
Of course, because I don't pick them to win. I don't.
Who's Nick
appreciate
Foles throwing to,
Foles.
Chuck?
Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm
Who's
kidding.
Nick
A
Foles
bunch
throwing
of
to?
number 2s, and I acknowledge that.
Yeah.
That's why I did. That's why I didn't mention them because I know that he's throwing to a bunch of number 2 wide receivers.
He went from Zach Ertz to a guy I don't even know what
I
the
do
name
think
is.
Corey Davis is going to ball out this year, though.
Yeah,
He will.
yeah, I
Here's-
agree with that.
Here's
Corey
the
Davis
thing.
guy.
You guys are forgetting that Nick Foles can catch the ball himself. So
You would know
And
that
he would
Thursday.
know.
Yeah, you would know that.
And
Thursday.
he would know. Yes, he would.
he
He would know.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
You played yourself, fool. You would crumb. How much time? We got
I
about
love-
5 minutes.
I
So
love our Super Bowl references.
you know what? We're gonna go. Oh, it's okay for you guys to do it to him, but when I remind you, all right, hypocrites,
It's not hypocrite.
hypocrites.
One was 2 years ago, and one was like 9 years ago.
It doesn't matter because we all said. First of all, it was 8 years ago.
Oh my God!
Secondly-
that's a groundbreaking change.
And then we did make it to another World Series after that.
what happened?
To that we lost
Right.
against a team that nobody was beating that team that year, the Boston Red Sox. But that being said, you can talk about a championship, and we've agreed on this show for 10 years. When you hit the 10-year mark, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. So
I agree with that.
we're still within that 10-year mark.
I understand.
especially when it's a historical collapse like 2011 was. I mean, that gets talked about for history because it was historical. But I digress. So, we'll save.
Yeah, NFC for.
We're going to save the NFC for the second half. We've got a couple minutes. First, Pete says division winners, Indy most complete team in the South. Ravens win the North. Chiefs win the West. Pats in the East. I think he misspelled Miami. He put PATS.
Oh, here's
Wild
something.
card, Chargers, and either the Browns or the Steelers.
With a couple minutes, reveal your not your playoff seedings, but like your 4 division winners and then the 2 wild.
Oh yes. Go.
For the AFC, that way it's
Go.
the AFC's complete.
So to make it clear, I have New England, Kansas City, Cleveland, and Houston. My wild cards are Pittsburgh and Miami.
I can't believe we're still doing
I
this.
can't believe we're doing this.
I'm riding it out.
Go ahead,
I'm
Chuck.
riding it.
All right. So
I can't throw that out there and
one
not
to-
ride it into the ground.
Oh my God! Top 4 seeds from 1 to 4: Patriots, Chiefs, Browns, Jaguars, and then I might switch Jaguars and Browns. I don't know. I may not. And then 2 wild cards: Ravens and Colts.
Kevin.
So in order, I've got Patriots, Chargers, Browns, Colts, Chiefs, Steelers.
And in order, I have Steelers number 1 seed because they're going to beat you guys in week 1.
Oh.
Um,
You're wrong, but you're okay.
That's all right. We'll talk about it next week. The Patriots 2 seed, same record, but again, you guys are losing week 1, so that's different. Chiefs 3 seed, Texans 4 seed, and my 2 wild card are the Browns and the Chargers.
No, like all seriousness though, they may not make a wild card. So if I'm gonna replace them,
We're going back already?
if I'm gonna replace them, obviously the Pats aren't gonna make the playoffs, and it's gonna be the Chargers. Okay,
It's really killing him inside. You can see this. It's really killing him
the
inside.
Pats aren't gonna make it. I'm saying.
No, the Dolphins thing. The Dolphins thing.
Oh, they're gonna win. I didn't take them out. I mean, if I had to twist my arm and I had to.
First half brought to you by.
Yeah. Back to you, Chucks, at the news desk.
Do we have any, just first name that comes to mind, anybody in the AFC that you think is going to be a breakout star this year?
I do, but I want to save it for my awards.
All right, fine.
He
Chuck.
has a plan.
All right.
So
Unless I-
with a minute left, I will let you know that the terms of Jared Goff's deal did
I
come
just
out.
popped up on my phone. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's 4-year extension, 134 million, 110 of it guaranteed.
You know who just lost?
the Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys
just lost.
That's what we said again. Jerry waits for another extension, and he couldn't possibly get any less than those
And
guys.
Dak is not as good as either of these guys.
Nope.
But it's okay, because in the NFL, you can just keep dishing out money if they're. Oh wait, they have a salary cap.
No.
And they just paid 2 guys
Listen.
in front of the other 3.
Guys, hate to say it.
Yeah, you hate to say
Hey.
it.
Hate to say it. First half of the show brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountants. Make them yours, GibsonMayer.com. Specialized physical therapy. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Obviously by Scanzano Sports. Always repping our topic of conversation. On the other side, we'll dig into the NFC. We'll also have our awards, predictions, breakout stars on both the Eagles and the rest of the league. We'll have no huddle coming at you. So if you're on Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope, couldn't remember the other one for a minute. Guys, make sure you go over, search A2D Radio on YouTube or A2D Live and A2D Radio on the Facebook. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, follow us on there. You can always catch a second half of the shows there. So we're going to take a brief break. As you guys know, we'll be back in a few minutes with the rest of our regular season prediction special. Thursday night, we're back. Or Tuesday night, we're back. Jesus, God, this is a mess already.
I thought we teleported.
Kevin dropping his phone, rookie.
It's Thursday. Game's on.
Yeah, I wish. Tuesday night, back in the Real Talk studios for the second half of Birds of a Feather on a2dradio.com, on Facebook and YouTube. If you guys made the jump from Periscope, Instagram, and Twitter, we appreciate you. Looking forward to continuing the conversation. First half of the show, brought to you by Gibson Mayer, and second half, brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC. Our certified public accountants, make them yours. GibsonMayer.com, as well as Specialized Physical Therapy. You can find them in Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton, New Jersey, and find them on the web, SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. Our Scanzano Sports topic of conversation was the Eagles will win the NFC. They will win the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Yep.
Agree, disagree. First half of the show, we talked about Eagles roster cuts. We talked other transactions throughout the league, and we gave our AFC divisional predictions, and we gave our wild card teams, basically our playoff teams. We're going to move on to the NFC. And we're going to do we want to, I mean,
Want to do it last? Want to do East last?
we'll do the East last.
East last.
So we're going to go over to the NFC. We're going to give our predictions here. We're going to start with the NFC South.
Woo! There we go.
And once again,
There you
I'm
go.
going to let Kevin kick it off. This was the division where somebody bought up 2 teams that they thought would not make the playoffs. It was a Bill, I believe.
No, it's Brinkman.
Brinkman,
Mr.
yeah.
Brinkman. He said that the Saints and the Rams will both not make the playoffs. This is one of those divisions. I'm going to defer over to Kevin to kick us off here for the NFC South. What is your final statement?
So like I said earlier, and if you were paying attention, you could guess by now, I said one
don't
of
pay
those 2
attention to you.
teams. I figured that much. I said one of those 2 teams would not make
Except
it.
for when you picked Miami to win.
I didn't.
You did, but it's okay.
I picked one of those teams to not make the playoffs. I have the Saints winning the division.
Okay.
I've got Saints, Panthers, Falcons, Bucks.
Okay. You?
I think the Saints have one of the best rosters in the whole league. I really do believe that.
But
I think. But their schedule is going to get a little harder now.
Okay.
And the Falcons is going to get a lot easier. And they're getting healthier compared to last year. I have the Falcons winning the division by like a game or 2. Falcons are good, and they don't have Steve Sarkisian anymore. All right? But the New Orleans Saints are still good. I have both of them I have both of them making the playoffs. And I had the Panthers as the 3rd seed in the division also making the playoffs.
Okay.
So I agree with Chucks. I have the Falcons, much improved team. They might be the most improved team in the NFL. People look back at last season like, the Falcons stunk. No, they were shredded with injuries on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball.
Annihilated.
And a quarterback who I'm not a big fan of, Matt Ryan, still had a very, very good year.
Best season of his career.
Yeah, which is absurd if you think about it with all the things they lost on that team.
Yeah.
So with that being said, all of those are back now. Sarkisian is gone, which is a plus by
Plus
subtraction.
for them for sure.
So I have them winning the division at 10-6.
Okay.
Now here is my bold prediction of the year, ladies and gentlemen. I not only have the Saints not winning the division, I have them missing the playoffs outright.
Okay.
They're going to go 8-8. I believe I've always been a big Drew Brees guy, but as we've seen the last 2 years, and we really saw it last year, he started at an all-time level. I mean, he was in the MVP conversation for the first 9-10 weeks of last season, right at the top.
Say it.
And then all of a sudden,
Say it.
he started to show his age a little bit. He started getting tired. Then
Yes.
we saw it, especially against us in a game that we should have won in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
What did he start off? Slow as hell.
Mm-hmm.
How about in the next game? Slow as hell. You want to bet what he would have done in the Super Bowl if he would have gotten there? We'll start off slow as hell. The roster's not as good. They've lost a couple pieces. Obviously, Ingram. They're a solid roster. But I also, people equate to, this, what happened in the playoffs with the call, the non-call, is, that's going to inspire them. Well, I don't think so at
No.
all. I think it's become a huge distraction, and I think this is a Drew Brees' last year. So I have him missing the playoffs along with the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Panthers also finishing 8-8. They have a good roster, but they're just too much of this. Not consistent enough for me. And Jameis Winston stinks. So 7-9 for the Buccaneers.
Before I get into mine here, Bill wants you to know the Patriots will be hosting the Ravens or Browns, and they'll be knocked out. Book it. Hashtag screenshot.
Oh, God. Baker versus Brady.
Where'd they go?
Pete has the Eagles, Seahawks, Falcons, and Lions.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Lions.
Ooh.
Pete.
Oh,
You gotta
my.
explain that one.
I
Oh,
have.
my.
All right. So my NFC South has also shifted from the last time we did it. I agree. I think Atlanta will win the division. I have New Orleans at 2, Carolina at 3, and Tampa Bay stinks at 4. Stinks.
Now, here's another bold prediction.
One thing
Go
I'll
ahead.
say,
Yeah.
if there's ever a time for Jameis Winston that he's going to turn it around, it's got to be this year.
It has to be.
It
no
has
choice.
to be this year.
Here's my bold prediction
He
that
won't.
could change.
But this would be his best chance.
Could change some things. It might not change everything because again, Jameis Winston still stinks.
I also don't have New Orleans making the playoffs, by the way.
Oh, there you go.
I think they're going to be a fringe team, though.
Yes.
But I think that they'll lose out in the wild card.
They'll be in the race, but again, they're going to be relying on a quarterback he's going to lose it again in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
If Melvin Gordon were to get traded, I think at the top of the list of candidates and location is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah,
If
they don't
he
have a running back.
No, he doesn't. Oh, but they have Peyton Barnes. Shut up. No, they don't. If Melvin Gordon were to land there, I would bump them up a little bit. But of course, until that happens, I can't assume.
Right.
Yeah.
We
Once
have to
again,
go.
Jameis Winston.
We have to
stinks.
go with what we know
Jameis
right
Winston
Yes.
stinks.
Pete says Lions defense will be real, and I don't think there's an answer for Hawkinson on the north.
I like that. I like the second part.
I mean, that's true. I mean,
We're going to go to the
Mm.
NFC North now, actually. So, gentlemen, we're going to start with Mr. Chucks. Let me get your NFC North predictions,
well, I'm going to go reverse order. I'm going to go last to first because.
like you did with the East. Got you. Okay.
And I'm going to go Lions last. Although I do feel like he makes some good points. Hawkinson is going to be good. Kerryon Johnson is going to be good. There's just not enough. And I really have my doubts about Stafford's fit in this offense. Like I am higher on Stafford than both of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I still admit the fact that Stafford still has yet to prove anything. And this type of offense that Patricia wants him to run goes against the style of play that Matt Stafford is known to be good at. So I still have my doubts about that. So they're fourth. Third, I had the Chicago Bears. And it's because you guys, two factors.
I would never do that.
One,
Disgust.
Mitchell is way too inconsistent for me to rely on. Way too inconsistent. Like it's going beyond the fact. Like I cannot put any stock into what he is because one, it's not even week in and week out. It's each quarter, maybe each drive. One drive you don't know what you're gonna get because he'll look really good, and the next drive he'll look so bad. Second reason, and probably even the biggest reason, what was the number one factor and reason why the Bears were so successful last year? It was their defense, correct?
Yeah, Khalil Mack.
Who did they lose last? And who did they lose?
Well, the orchestrator of madness. as I call
Orchestrator
him.
of madness.
Vic
Vic Fangio is
Thank you,
no
Chucks.
longer there.
Thank you, Chucks.
And people don't realize that. They don't factor that in enough. That I'm not saying the defense is going to be horrible,
Oh.
but I do think that it's going to drop off significantly from where it was, even with Khalil Mack and the rest of the studs they have on defense. They drop off, and they're third in the division. Second, I have Minnesota Vikings, but I don't have them too far ahead of the Bears. I think they're around the same record. It wouldn't surprise me if the Bears and the Vikings were like flip-flop, like second and third. But I
already
think,
backpedaling.
and then I'm not backpedaling. And then the Packers, I think, win the division. I think they start off a little slow in the first half of the season because of the new system, the new coach. But I think in the second half of the season they start to pick it up and they pull away the division. If I'm gonna project wins, I'm gonna say they finish with maybe around 11 wins.
Pete says Stafford's underrated. Biggest fear with them is Darrell Bevel. I believe in their defense heavily.
Chucks. Or I'm sorry,
And
Chrome.
Bill also says Eagles, Saints, Rams, Chicago, wildcard teams, Panthers, and Cowboys.
Bill, one thing though, those division winners are the same. Forgive me if I'm wrong. They're the same as last year, right? Well, things change.
Well,
the
the
Eagles
flipped the
were not.
Cowboys.
Oh,
and the
Eagles, yeah. But
Would you like me to go?
Yes, I would.
Okay. All right.
So I'll also go. I'll start at 4 and work my way up. I have the
Special
Lions.
division. We got to work our way backwards.
I got to follow up Chucks in some way.
because I was piggybacking off of
Chrome
Off
was
of Pete.
melting during
Pete.
that.
No melt.
Ryan. Truth hurts. It's okay.
Yes.
I have the Lions at 7 and 9. Similar reasons that you said. I love T.J. Hawkinson, but I don't like to buy into the stereotype in it because I think it's lazy with some teams like, oh, the Browns are the Browns, the Lions are the Lions, but the Lions are the Lions. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a big Matt Patricia guy. I do agree with Pete. Their defense has improved
Yes.
tremendously. But I think this is a very, very competitive division, and I'm very confident in the teams at the top. So because of that, I just have them by default, in 4th place. Then here's my big surprise, okay? I have the Packers finishing in 3rd, and I have them missing the playoffs again.
Okay.
I get it. They have Aaron Rodgers. It used to mean something. I don't know what it means anymore. I could be dead wrong, and I could be looking back in February to this moment and thinking, well, Aaron Rodgers won his 2nd Super Bowl. I'm an idiot. But guess what? What has he done? What has he done for me lately? He's gotten hurt back-to-back years.
He's got to stay healthy. Yeah.
I got to see what this whole dynamic is with the offense. Their defense is young. I would like to say that means they've improved, but that most of the time means they're just young and they're a year or two away. Other than Adams, and I like the running back, there's a lot of just stuff on the offensive side of the ball. So it's going to rely, once again, on Aaron Rodgers being a superhero, and I don't know how sustainable that is coming off of 2 major injuries. I don't. I have them finishing 9 and 7. Then I have the Bears also finishing at 9 and 7. I think the biggest reason is Vic Fangio leaving. Everyone thinks, oh, he wasn't a player, so it doesn't matter. Well, it's funny that people say that, but they're the same people who talk about Frank Reich leaving. It's a coordinator and it's a coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? System matters, right? Right, Bill Middlebrook? System matters. Go.
That was 2 months ago. That was 2 months ago. And we're still
I
here.
don't forget. I don't forget.
Trust me, I know you don't forget. I am so high on the Vikings this year because you got to think about it this way. Kirk Cousins, when he was with the Redskins, bad roster, bad ownership, bad GM. He was still good for 8 or 9 wins with nothing around him. Then you put him on a great roster, very good defense. You have Dalvin Cook coming back.
Ooh.
And here's a little pop quiz. What was their biggest weakness last year?
Their offensive line.
Correct. What did they fix?
Their offensive line.
They were 9 and 7 last year with all those issues. With Kirk Cousins coming into a new system, sucked the second half, and they were on the doorstep of a playoff victory or a playoff appearance. I have them just going up one more win. But they're way better than they were last year.
I bought big in Dalvin Cook. You know why? Because one, of what you said. 2, you know who the offensive coordinator is and the system they're using? Gary Kubiak. Gary Kubiak's zone run system is ideal for Dalvin Cook. He is going to be very good this year. He's healthy. So I that's why I have him at 2nd. So I agree.
Go ahead, Crow.
So I'll run backwards like these crumbs. I think make you feel a little bit better. I've got Lions, Packers, Vikings, Bears win the division.
Pandering.
Mitchy Poo.
I think that defense, although not as lights out as last year, I think that Khalil Mack is still one of the best defensive players.
Game changer.
I think that he may win an award that we will project a little bit later. I think that Mitchy Poo comes into his own. I think the Tyreek Cohen steps up and plays a bigger role. Obviously.
I like Cohen.
I think that all around they're a hard-nosed team that are going to get it done. You don't have the big names like the Vikings do, although I feel like the Vikings have a better receiving core with Thielen and
Diggs.
Stephon Diggs, but I don't think that they're going to be able to edge out. I think it's going to be close. I think it's by a game, but Bears win.
See, I'm buying in with you guys on. I'm dropping Green Bay down big time.
Well, I had them win the division, so I didn't.
Well, these guys, I'm saying.
Yeah.
I have Detroit fourth. Although I do think that Detroit did make some really good moves, and having Mike Daniels there is a huge pickup for them.
Yeah.
I dropped Green Bay to third. I agree. I don't know what's gonna be of that team. And my thing with Green Bay, and I know it's a different system now, but I feel like for a long time, there's a track record of running backs who play with Aaron Rodgers, for whatever reason, have one or two really good years, and then they just kind of disappear. Whether it's injury issues or whatever it is, because they're more of a passing team. I love Aaron Jones, but I don't know that I'm all in on Aaron Jones this year.
Oh, I would be. In that zone run scheme,
I just don't know yet. And I am a big Aaron Jones guy. I went pretty heavy on him this year in fantasy as well. But I don't know. And I think that could be the de facto thing for them is how that running game takes off. Because I do agree. I don't know what we're going to get from Aaron Rodgers. I still think he's one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league. But there is that track record over the last couple of years of injury issues.
That's completely
and having an issue of staying on the football field.
Yeah.
And they are a completely different team if Aaron Rodgers is not 100% on that team.
Absolutely.
And we saw it last year when he played at 70%.
Yeah.
So if he stays healthy and Aaron Jones has a really, really strong year, they could easily win the division out. But I'm going to put him at 3 for now because I have a lot of uncertainty.
Completely fair.
Minnesota, I have it. I think it's going to be much more competitive at the top between Minnesota and Chicago. I have Minnesota at 2. I have Chicago at 3 or at 1. But I could totally that's another one I could see as a flip-flop. I think that I agree. Although there was a lot of inconsistency with Mitchell Trubisky, and this is not me being a Trubisky mark, but there were things that I still saw that he progressed on from the beginning of last year, not being able to make plays down the stretch of games, to where he put them in a position to win that game against us.
Absolutely did.
He made plays, particularly in the last 2 or 3 minutes of that game,
Absolutely,
that put them on top. And that was in a big spotlight game against a tough defense that was playing at their peak of the season last year, a team that was a defending champion, and he put them in a position to win the football game. I think he will grow on that and learn with that. And I agree, although I agree with you, too, in that when you take that coordinator, when you change up the scheme because of the coordinator, that could be scary. But the personnel that they have defensively and having what might be the best defensive player in the league, I think
Donald?
that – what's that? Yeah.
Aaron Donald.
I think that could – that's an X factor for them. I think the defense will continue to take a little less pressure off of Mitchell Trubisky and allow him to continue to develop. So I have Chicago winning the division, Minnesota finishing a close second, and Green Bay, maybe not even Green Bay that far. I don't think Detroit's going to win. Detroit might win 6 games. I'm not even going to say that they're going to win 7.
Yeah.
I have this being very lopsided for the 3 top teams in that division.
Yeah.
And again, also to kind of echo what you guys said, I do think it's a tough division. I think they'll be much more competitive.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at those other 3 teams above them, there's still quite a distance between Detroit and the rest of the division that I think they're going to cover that much ground that they're going to win 7 or 8 games. So I got Chicago.
Another question mark for Chicago, too. Is Carly Lloyd their kicker yet? Because, boy, do they need a kicker. They need a kicker. They absolutely need a kicker. So that's the other thing.
Over on the Facebook, Brinkman says, love the Bears Thursday. #1 defense by a mile. He thinks Kirk Cousins is a poop emoji. And that's all I got on that. That's all I got to say about that.
Oh, God.
So, moving on. Mr. Roska, tune in. NFC West. I'm going to start with Mr. Ryan Brodo on this one.
Let me go last on this one.
NFC West.
Do
Okay.
it.
I have the Rams at 11-5. I have the 49ers second at 9-7. The Seahawks, for the first time in a long time, missing the playoffs at 8-8. And I have Kyler Murray and the Cardinals going 5-11. I can't buy into the 49ers yet, especially when I read a headline this morning of them already talking about switching to Nick freaking Mullins.
What article was that?
NFL.com.
Who reported that? What did that report say? I'll look it up. Keep going.
I'll read it to you.
That's a really silly. But go ahead.
So that's where you're going.
Yes. Rams
Okay.
number 1.
All right. So for me, I have the Rams 1. I still have Seattle eking out 2. I have San Francisco at 3 and Arizona at 4.
Go, Kev.
And
Yeah,
I'm
so-
really hoping David Johnson stays healthy this year.
So I've got Seahawks 1. I'm still sold Niners 2. Rams 3, missing the playoffs. And then Cardinals
Okay.
on the bottom.
Wait,
I-
say that again? One more time?
Seahawks, Niners, Rams.
You have the Rams missing the playoffs.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Boom. Yes. All right. I've got the Niners winning the division.
You put some sleeves on that hoodie.
Woo! I've got them winning the division, shocking everyone. Kyle Shanahan comes out and shows that
And you
he's
guys laughed at me for
and
my
he's
Dolphins
just-
take.
just as good of a coach as Sean Mr. McVay. All right. He gets his respect because the last 2 years he's had no quarterback consistently throughout the whole year, and he's still done pretty well. All right, with who he's had at quarterback, I think with as long as Jimmy G stays healthy all year, the Niners win the division. Second, I flip-flop, but I'm going to put the Rams at second in the division. But I have them missing the playoffs. They drop off. And this is what bothers me, or not, I won't say bothers, but this is what kind of like annoys me that people aren't factoring in is what does history tell us about teams that lose the Super Bowl? There is a drop-off the next season in their production. They don't always miss the playoffs, but they're not the same team. McVay has got a lot of work to do. He has got to show that defenses haven't figured out his system, because toward the end of the season, that sure as hell is what it looked like. And also, Todd Gurley, the main focus and the driving point, the focal point of that offense. What do we know about his knee? Is it 100% or is it not? Is that arthritis gonna flare up or is it not? Yeah, they had Darrell Henderson, who's going to be good, I believe, but he's still no Gurley. Like, Gurley is the engine that drives that offense, not Goff. All right? So if considering all that, and also, they are playing, the people do not realize they have 3 new offensive linemen on that line. They lost 3 people from their offensive line from last year. What does history tell us about offensive lines that go through a huge makeover? They're not the same. They're like, when you don't have that continuity, it takes a long time to build. They still have weaknesses along the middle of their defense, linebacker, defensive line, the whole defensive line. Besides Aaron Donald, they have no pass rush. Where are they gonna get the pass rush from? Like, they have more holes than you think, and people are ignoring it just because they're the Rams and they're led by Sean McVay. No, they have holes. And McVay's got to show that he can make adjustments. I have them dropping off. They can still win like 10 games, maybe 9 games, but I don't see them winning the division, and I don't see them being that powerhouse that they were last year. The Seahawks, I think, will be right behind them at third in the division. It's hard for me not to buy into Russell Wilson because Russell Wilson is elite. I love Russell Wilson, but I don't know for sure if that run-heavy scheme is going to hold up, and that they have enough in their backfield and enough weapons and enough on their defense to be successful the whole year. I bought into the Ravens because I believe in the weapons they have. I believe in the defense they have, but I don't know about the Seahawks. Getting Clowney could mean something, could make the difference, but they still don't have They still let go of a lot of their pass rushers, and their one pass rusher, I forget his name, is suspended the first 6 games. So I have to see them first. I have to see that they're able to do enough offensively beyond that running game in order to be successful. And even though Russell Wilson's awesome, I just don't see it. And of course, the Cardinals, I think they will be a feisty team. I think they'll be a fun team to watch, but I still don't think there's enough talent on that team to win enough games. They're fourth.
Is there anything on the tube?
Yeah, there's a handful of things. Let's see here. Bryce Blackwell said, okay, I'll change the Saints pick. I'll take Dallas wild card. Some guy named Tommy H said Eagles 6-10. What? Bryce Blackwell was surprised by my Vikings pick. He says Kirk Cousins can't beat winning teams. And then David telling me, you are my boy Blue.
My boy Blue.
And the NFC East.
Let's do it.
I'll kick off the NFC East. I'll go from the reverse.
There you go.
I have Washington finishing in the basement.
Ooh.
I have the Giants at third, Dallas at second, and Philadelphia at number one.
I feel like all of our top two is going to be the same.
And with
Should be.
Philadelphia, I have the Eagles still from the schedule that we went through on your show at 13-3. I have them losing. I'll tell you in 1 second. Can't remember off the top of my head. So I have them losing week 4 at Green Bay. I have them losing week 7 at Dallas and week 12 at home against Seattle. That's the 3 losses on their schedule.
I think you
that
skipped
I
one.
have. No. We don't skip that. No.
Yeah,
You don't skip.
Yeah, you do play.
No, there was no skip.
week 11.
There was
that's
no
gonna be a
flub.
loss.
There wasn't a flub.
No, there was no flub. No effing flub.
No effing flop.
So I've got something pretty similar. I've got the Giants on the bottom,
Okay.
followed by the Eagles, and then it doesn't really matter. No, just kidding there. I got
I was about to say. I was like,
Yeah,
is
Wait a
this
second. What?
yeah.
What?
What?
Yeah, no, Redskins, Giants, Redskins, Cowboys, Eagles,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Poor guy. It's okay. I know that hurt you.
Brodo?
So
Not as much as picking Miami earlier, but that hurt you.
I'll also start at the bottom.
Okay.
Work my way up. I have the Redskins at 3-13.
Okay.
The Giants at 6-10 in third. I have the Cowboys in a close second at 10-6, and I have the Philadelphia Eagles at 12-4. My 4 losses will come in the form of Week 2 at the Falcons,
Yep.
Week 6 at the Vikings, Week 9 versus Mitchell Trubisky. And I said on my show when Chrome was on my show that week is going to be rough for me on this show. He's going to be on his victory tour, Mr. Chrome,
Oh,
and I'm going to be
gosh.
over here.
It's all right.
And their final loss will come after I believe, a 6-game winning streak. Week 16 versus the Cowboys.
It's hard for me to go on a victory tour when it comes at the expense of the Eagles.
But you'll find a way.
And I told you so tour, very possible, though.
Semantics. Semantics.
From
And-
in reverse order.
I don't sleep on them tour, very possible.
I'll sleep. I'll sleep
God.
well, actually.
Giants, Redskins, Cowboys, Eagles. That's reverse order.
Okay.
I will say this. We all know about the Dwayne Haskins thing, but outside of that, I really do like Darius Geis this year.
So do I.
I think that he is going to the Redskins are going to be feisty too, and they're going to be mainly because of him. I think he's going to come back. I think he's going to have a really good year. He's going to be the reason why the Redskins are going to be a tough out. I think when we play them, it's not going to be an easy game. Both games, it's not going to be easy, and I think he's going to turn heads and show why he was in my book not that far behind Saquon Barkley in last year's draft.
See, like, as the season gets closer, for me, it's a major issue is the quarterback situation for them.
Mm-hmm.
If they could clear that up, I could see them being 3, maybe even second in the division. Because we've seen what that team can be when Alex Smith or a decent quarterback is behind them.
Their offensive line is just so bad.
No, that's the issue.
I hear you. But I agree with Chuck's in a sense of that I don't think they're going to be the doormat that some people think that they're going to be. I think they are going to be they're going to be competitive. they're not going to come out on the winning end of a lot of games, but I could see them being very competitive in a lot more games than people will give them credit for.
So you think they're going to be the 2018 Giants then? Where they were competitive, they had a lot of one-score losses, and they blew it.
Could be.
Okay.
Something similar to that. Yeah, sure.
So my question would be on the bottom of the barrel: who switches quarterbacks first, Giants or Redskins?
Redskins.
Yeah, Keenum will be out of there by week 3. Whether that's via injury or because Dan Snyder is an idiot.
They're still loyal to Eli.
I honestly think I can't believe I'm saying this. If Daniel Jones was the starting quarterback, I might have them in second. Because Cowboys are really
No,
good.
yeah.
They'd be way closer though.
Sure.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be a 5-6 game gap.
It would
between
definitely
second and third.
it would definitely distance Washington from them a little bit.
Oh God.
I still don't. I still have a lot of doubts about Daniel Jones. Like the preseason to me, I know everyone was like all like going crazy because he had a great preseason. That doesn't show me jack squat. Like show me in a real game. All right, when defense is game plan against you. I still have a lot of doubts about Daniel Jones, but in his defense, if the Giants were a smart organization, they'd just be playing him right from the start. What's the point in waiting?
Yep.
What is the damn point in waiting? He should be the starter from day one, but he's not.
So who's our wild card teams, guys, in the NFC? I have Minnesota and Dallas.
Yeah, I mean my seedings from 1 to 6. I have Eagles 1 seed, Vikings 2 seed, Rams 3 seed, Falcons 4 seed. My 2 wild cards are Cowboys and Bears.
Yeah, to go through, I have Philadelphia winning the division. Obviously, I have Philly, Rams, Chicago, Atlanta, wild cards being Minnesota and Dallas.
So I had Eagles 1, Saints, Seahawks, Bears, Cowboys, Panthers.
I have Eagles, Falcons, Packers, Niners, and for the 2 wild cards, I have the Saints and the Panthers.
Okay.
NFC South wild cards.
So who's your final 4, ladies and gentlemen?
I don't have one.
What?
I'm not predicting one. I do that at the end of the regular season.
What?
All right, fine. You want me to pick a final 4? Okay, go.
Who the hell is this guy?
So I've got
I've never heard that before ever.
I've got Miami and Cleveland.
okay.
For what?
The
1 and
toilet-
2 in the draft?
Yeah, the
What?
toilet bowl.
what? For what?
First
For
2
what?
overall picks.
You see my face? I'm like, what?
No, I have New England and Cleveland. I have New England and Cleveland out of the AFC
In the conference final, huh?
in the conference
How
final.
about that?
And I have the Eagles and I have the Bears out of the NFC.
I've got Patriots, Chargers, Eagles, Saints.
Okay.
Chucks?
I have Patriots, Chiefs, Eagles, Packers.
So for me, in the AFC, I have the Steelers going up against the Patriots. And in any regular year, you would expect history to repeat itself. But no! Today is a new day. Yes, it is. I have the Steelers coming out on top against the Patriots. But here's the real question, ladies and gentlemen. Who? Who's facing them?
Who? What?
Who's facing
Well,
them?
see, I have the North also coming out on top. I have Cleveland beating the Patriots.
Oh, yeah. Who's winning in those games?
And coming out of the AFC.
Chucks, who's winning in your AFC conference game?
AFC?
Mm-hmm.
See, that's tough. I kind of didn't decide, but I guess I'll decide off the spur of the moment here. I'm going to say Chiefs.
Kevin?
I'm going to say Chiefs.
Like we
So-
don't
It's
already
tough.
know.
I could-
So my-
I could flip. The honest, I'll be like, this was just like,
So we had
Going to my head.
Steelers beating the Patriots in
I
the
did.
championship game.
I did.
Chiefs beating the Patriots in the championship game.
because I think they have a
And
better
Browns?
defense this time.
Okay.
I don't know.
So
Now remember, you didn't even pick the Patriots to make the playoffs. You picked Miami. So
right. That's going to make this decision pretty weird.
It's going to be a game changer.
So as I am already on record in saying, my bold prediction, I have the Patriots beating the Saints in the Super Bowl.
oh, he's going right to Super Bowl.
Well, yes, who the winners were going to be.
Who do you have in the conference championship, though?
I already went over that. Patriots.
Oh, right. He went right into the. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. Go ahead.
So Patriots,
Threw me off
Chargers,
when he just went right to that.
Patriots, Chargers, Eagles, Saints.
Gotcha.
Patriots play the Saints. Patriots win ring 7. Both quarterbacks retire.
Now for my NFC.
Disagree with that.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that. For my NFC championship, I have the Philadelphia Eagles hosting none other than the Dallas Cowboys.
No, you do not.
I
Oh
do.
my God.
I hope we don't get to that.
It's gonna be a stressful week. It's gonna be really stressful.
So who do
I
you
don't
have
think
coming
I-
out of the game?
I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that on a certain week in early February, we'll be sitting right here in these. Well, you guys will be sitting in the chairs. I'll be sitting over here, and we'll be saying, Chrome, to quote The Rock, "Finally, the Birds have come back to the Super Bowl," and that means finally, the Birds have come back home.
Yes.
Yeah, I have the Eagles going.
I dig it. Bill said-
Unfortunately, you
Bill
won't
said
be
turn Kevin's mic off.
Yeah, yeah. At this point,
Yeah.
at this point, just beat him.
I won't what? I won't what, Kevin?
Huh?
I won't what?
I said, unfortunately, the Eagles won't be home. In Chrome's world, Miami will actually be home. So,
And yours.
I can't.
I heard your prediction earlier.
Go.
I have the Eagles defeating the Chicago Bears, and I have the Eagles winning the Super Bowl over the Cleveland Browns.
Over the Cleveland Browns.
And I am not always a homer. I did not pick the Eagles to win last year.
No, I don't think. I think I had the
I-
Steelers beating them last year.
I don't remember who I had beating them last year, though. With Chargers. I had the Chargers last year.
I forget who I had last year. I think I had Eagles Steelers. So
Yeah, I think so.
I think I had Eagles Steelers.
last
But yeah, Eagles Chiefs this year. Andy Reid versus Doug Peterson.
God.
And then Doug Peterson proves why he's the better coach.
So let me ask you this then.
Bill has the
Uh-huh.
same. Bill has Chiefs, Chargers, Eagles, Saints, Eagles and KC, and Broad Street again. Let's go.
Who are your offensive rookie of the year,
Let's go. Awards. Let's go.
defensive rookie of the year,
We got
and
10 minutes.
MVP?
Let's go. I got all the awards. Let's go.
I got all of them.
I got all.
Yeah, I don't know if I did all that, but
So, who did you ask for?
MVP, offensive rookie of the year, and defensive rookie of the year.
Okay. So, both my regular season and Super Bowl MVP will be Tom Brady.
Of course.
Offensive player of the year, or offensive, you said rookie or player?
Rookie.
Rookie will be Josh Jacobs. Defensive will be Chase Winovich.
Of course.
Jesus, man.
Of course.
Jesus, man. You want to go,
He's
Chuck, or
good.
you want me to go?
You go. You go. You go.
So my offensive rookie of the year, I'm going with, this is a wild card, I'm going T.J. Hawkinson. It's not really usual for a tight end to get it, but I think he's that good.
Oh, he's really good.
I have my defensive rookie of the year being Devin Bush.
That was
linebacker.
Good
my
pick. Good
second
pick.
And again, I laid this all out. My initial gut feeling was Baker for MVP, but I only have the Browns going 9-7.
Yeah, so
and a
that's not
quarterback on
happening.
a 9-7 team
That's not
is
happening.
not. He's not winning the MVP.
We did a poll just to piggyback off of that.
Uh-huh.
One of the groups we're in, they did a poll who's going to win MVP. Second place with 8 votes was Saquon Barkley. And I was like, in what world? One, in what world is there going to be a running back in today's league? And two, in what world are the Giants going to be a winning team? So sorry, that's not happening. People don't think. But go ahead.
So then I thought, okay, Kirk Cousins. Then I went to the actual division winners because you have to be a division winners usually,
Yeah.
unless you have an enormous season to be in this. Matt Ryan, no, he'll be up there. Kirk Cousins, no. Jared Goff, no. I think it's Carson Wentz, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
The weapons he has, if he stays healthy, there's no excuse why he shouldn't be in the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Was that it for
Yeah.
your words? Okay.
Yep.
Offense. You asked for rookies, right? Well, I'm just gonna
Correct.
go off of
Yeah, but you can give whatever you
All right. So, well, I have all of them.
I'm sure you do.
So I'll go coach of the year. As I said earlier, Kyle Shanahan. He's gonna show everyone. He's gonna show everyone. Comeback player of the year will go hand in hand and will be Jimmy G.
Mm-hmm. I could agree with that.
I've
I
got
can see
him.
that happening.
I've
Yep.
got him winning that as well.
Yep. Oh, sweet, nice. Defensive rookie of the year. I have Nick Bosa. So another Niner. Now, if it's not Nick Bosa, I think it's going to be Devin Bush. It was hard between the two. I think it's Devin Bush or Nick Bosa. Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's to me, like, it's hard because I went with a dark horse last year and went Anthony Miller because I like to go, like, for some of my award predictions, I like to go dark horse. For the Rookie of the Year offensive side, it's hard to pick a dark horse because there's really no one there that stands out to me. It's between three players. It's Hawkinson is the third on my list, and then it's between Kyler Murray and Josh Jacobs. And so I'm just gonna go with Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray's gonna really fit that offense, and we'll have a very exciting rookie year. It might not be a successful year, but it'll be very exciting. So I think he gets that. Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett. I picked him last year. I was off, but I'm hoping right now that I was just a year off from him because I think he is legit, and if the Browns do well, I think he's a big reason why they do well. Offensive Player of the Year, I'm going to be completely honest. This is probably going to be my pick for the next 5-10 years, depending how long he plays. It's going to be Saquon Barkley, best offensive player in the game. Like when you remove position value. I think it's clearly Barkley. So every year it's going to be the same guy, Saquon Barkley. And the MVP, I agree with you. To me, it's hard to look at anyone besides, but based on my predictions, besides Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and Wentz. And I think I'm going to go Wentz. I think Mahomes isn't going to win in a second time because it's very hard to do so.
Yeah. And
I do see a drop off for that offense because last year they were record breaking. Like it's hard to repeat that, and it's not to say that they'll still be very good, but they're not. I don't see them be record breaking. And then with the Patriots, they still are going to run like a run heavy offense like they did last year. I think it's going to be Wentz. He's set up for it. To me, if he doesn't, either something went very wrong or he got snubbed. That'll be that's my honest prediction. So I think the MVP is Wentz.
I didn't do an defensive Rookie of the Year, but I'm going to go with a little bit of a dark horse. I'm going to go with Devin Singletary.
Nike.
I think he's going to have a really solid year now that he's pretty much going to have the path cleared for him to take that job and take it by the reins.
That's a good suggestion.
So I'm going to go with Devin Singletary. Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going with Khalil Mack. I think he's a friggin' beast. I love the defense, regardless of the change in coordinator. I personally think he's the best defensive player in the league, and I think he's going to create havoc again this season. If I'm going Offensive Player of the Year, I don't know that I disagree with you with Saquon. Just kind of now. But I don't really know if I'm 100% sold on that. But MVP, I'm going Baker. I mean, I have the Browns going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so it fits your
Also, it
mold.
fits your.
And I believe that Baker is going to take a step forward this year. I would like to think that it's going to be Wentz, but I think if Baker can take – he's had that kind of a year that if Baker can take this Browns team in 2 years from where they were to a top AFC seed with a chance to win a Super Bowl, he is going to be very heavily favored in the MVP votes. So I'm going to go with Baker. I don't have a Coach of the Year or any of that stuff. So
I think comeback of the year.
There's a lot of good potential.
I'll go
names.
with Le'Veon.
Le'Veon could win it.
Or in this scenario where, say, Carson doesn't get the MVP, I think he would win comeback. Does he even fit that mold?
Yeah, I'd say because
Okay.
considering the narrative and it was the second time he went down with an injury.
Yeah.
I think he could fit the mold.
It could easily be Aaron Rodgers too.
Based on my predictions too.
true.
Another person I was considering for comeback is Devontae Freeman. I think if the Falcons have a great year and he has a great year, he could be another guy for a comeback.
I agree.
So to round out the spots that you guys mentioned, I had Jimmy G, a comeback player of the year. I've got Alvin Kamara, offensive player of the year. And I've got Khalil Mack, defensive player. And then coach of the year, Freddie Kitchens. I think leading that team from nothing to Super Bowl, that's that gets a win.
One more question for you guys. And for the sake of time, so I had a bottom 5 in the league. For sake of time, we'll do a bottom 3. Your 3 worst teams in the league, which means the top 3 teams in the draft order. I have 3
Well, now I'm going to switch it. It was 2, now it's 3. I have the Redskins at 3. I have the Dolphins at 2. And I have the Bengals at 1.
I agree with the Bengals. I agree with Washington for now, but it wouldn't shock me if they are a pesky team.
And you agree with the Dolphins.
And I have going with Detroit.
Ooh. Okay.
Detroit to me could be another team too. Like you brought up the Giants of 2018. Could be another team because of how competitive that division is, and they're playing in a lot of games in that division. That could be another team that loses a lot of really close games because they don't have the offensive firepower to get over the top, even if their defense keeps them in games. So I'm going to go with Detroit. No, Miami's winning 10 games. I'm not putting Miami there.
Kevin, you want to go next? Or?
Yeah, so I've got Bucks 1, Cincy 2,
I thought about
Fins
the
3.
Bucks. I thought about the Bucks. I think Jameis is going to be better, though, than he has been.
Should be.
They
There's
have
a ton of
Arians.
weapons.
With Bruce Arians, if
Yeah.
he can't succeed even moderately,
Yeah.
he's done.
Yeah.
He is either a backup or a third string, or he's out of the league because this is the guy who is going to get the most out of him. And if he fails and they're a bottom 3 team in the league with the weapons they have on that team,
They have weapons.
it's done.
They have receiving weapons. Wide receivers and tight ends. Oh my God.
They go and get Melvin Gordon. You never know.
So,
Uh,
go ahead.
good. Oh yeah, you were done.
I have to think he's going to be better this year. He can't be worse.
Yeah, yeah. So third worst, I'm going to go Bengals. Second worst, I'm going to go Titans, and worst, I'm going to go Dolphins. I think
can see that.
they're trying, based on the trade, they're trying to tank.
They are.
Even though there's no tanking in football, like they're really trying to tank for Tua. So
I just think the Bengals are that bad. They
The
now
Bengals are
have
really
the
bad.
worst offensive line in the league.
yeah,
A.J. Green gone. Andy Dalton stinks. Defense is not very good.
Bill says, JJ all day. Got to say it again. He thinks he's catching 9 touchdowns, rookie of the year, especially if Alshon or D-Jax miss any games like they both did last year.
See, I hope he balls out, Bill, because I drafted him in my keeper league, for $1, hoping that he will be something in the future. But if he plans out this year, all better for my fantasy team.
Guys, great show tonight. Appreciate all your contributions to our regular season preview show. Tomorrow night, you're going to catch Mr. Ryan Brodo on the Fix,
Yes, sir.
as well as AM and the PM. Lots of previews for the season coming up on A2D's platform every night. You're going to have, Thursday's niche night. You got Lazy Booking,
Niche
Hockey Happy Hour, the real Triple H. You're going to have the Philly sports guys coming at you on Friday night. You'll have the weekly roundup coming at you on Saturday, Sunday in this very ring. And obviously the flagship Agree to Disagree. Monday coming back at you after rounding out or giving you your first post-game show, which would be the Sports Hounds. And we'll be back with you guys on Tuesday nights. So we appreciate if you join us on Instagram, Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Always appreciate the fam. Love you guys. It's a big night. It's a big week for this crumb and for us. Football's back, boys.
Thursday night, let's go Packers
Football's
Bears.
back. Packers Bears.
Set your lineups.
Mitchie Poo. Go all in on Mitchie Poo this week. I'm telling
Aaron
you.
Rodgers, let's go.
But until next week, guys, enjoy the season. Enjoy the week. Go fly, Eagles, fly. Let's go, Birds, and whatever this crumb likes. And you guys have a great week.